we are back upstairs at the sewing machine because I think it is finally time to try and tackle this Sew in 20 project again and work on the Alchemilla rain cape from Sew Willow. Now, it's been a very long time, so I've taken some time to remind myself of where I got to with this project and what's going on and how much more I've got to do. Haven't got that much more to do. Still, doing it in 20-minute chunks means it might take several days, but that is something that I am not willing to compromise on in terms of this project, but also for the sake of my back health generally. So, got the instructions, got the cape here, and today I'm up to step 39 and I basically am at the sort of bagging out stage, so I've got to do a lot of clipping and then I've got to try and sew the two together. Whether I'd get all that done in 20 minutes, I don't know, but I'm excited to be back on this project, so I'm going to start my timer and let's make a start, I guess. Ooh. Here goes. Now, ideally, I would have a much bigger, flatter surface to lay this out on, and while I could try and crawl around on the floor, I don't think that's going to happen. So, let's maybe start like this. Threads are all tangled up in there as well. That's a great start. See, already it's falling off the desk. This is, oh gosh. See, it's wrestling. When it gets to the stage where you have to wrestle with your project, that's when I really notice things like the pain in my shoulders, the how heavy this is, my muscle weakness. Yeah, I agree. The fabric. I think the lining needs to be on top, given how wibbly wobbly it is. So I think because these fabrics behave differently, I think we're going to do a sort of midpoint to midpoint and smooth it from there. A pin. Can put a pin in the lining, but not in the main fabric. When I started this series, a lot of people said to me like, oh, why don't you just put pin within the seam allowance? And I was like, yeah, I could do that. However, the seam allowance is only a centimetre, and I'm used to working with larger seam allowances than that, and I don't trust my eye to be able to get it right every time without measuring. And if you think I'm measuring every time I put a pin in, you've got another thing coming. So, right. Yeah, does definitely need a little bit of easing there, doesn't it? Particularly here. Now, it's said to be careful to match all the sleeve seams, so here we are, here we are. Let's put that clip in first of all, and then we can wrestle with this section. Yes, that is a bit better. I think I'm fine with that for the sake of it being a bit smoother. So there's a seam in this bit of the facing. I'm guessing that goes to the centre point. This is where I'm envious of those people with those massive cutting tables. But we work with what we have. seam again, first of all. This first video is possibly going to be a little bit weird because I forget how much like talking out loud I have to do when I make this sort of video. Okay, match pretty well there. Let's get some clips on that. Not even halfway around the coat yet. How long have I got left? 12 minutes. Ah. Oh. Sorry. Kind of managed to roll the bits I've already clipped up. Still trying to get it all flat at once. Nearly impossible. What I think I might do is clip it all and then go and lie it on the floor and then see if there's anywhere that's really fighting where I've done a terrible job, basically. And if I have to tweak any bits, then at least it's not as much of a faff. Oh. Doesn't help that there's mess everywhere. Don't get distracted. There's 20 minutes. It's supposed to be sewing time. My arms and shoulders and neck hurt already. I think it's just wrestling with this thing that's so tiring, more than anything else. If you're wondering why that towel is there, left the window open and it rained. Next section. Can you see? Just making a mess. Let's match the seams. Oh, this is going to be tiring to sew. Can you see that? Makes me think maybe I should release some of that volume that way a little. Is this the home stretch? Yes, because the front did warn me that one of the fronts will be too short. Yeah, this one. Because of facing reasons. So. Has happened here? That is much longer than it's supposed to be, isn't it? So looks like this one is also going to be an easy in job. Okay, how much time have I got left? 3 minutes. Do I want to try and sew this in 3 minutes? No, of course not. So I actually spent those last 3 minutes just tidying up the mess that made. I've also wound the bobbin and threaded the machine for next time. Just a few little bits to give me a head start tomorrow whenever I come back to this. Oh, that was hard. That was unexpectedly hard. Yes, I know it's been a while, but that took me a little bit by surprise. That did. Wrestling with that cape. Oh, a needle. What I have done as well is I've laid it out on the bed. So, I mean, firstly, you can see just how massive it is, but I have been able to smooth it as best as I can like this. Part of my problem is like the hood, the bulk of the hood is dragging it up. So I was able to smooth some of that down and get some more slack at the bottom, but you can also probably see where it's been hanging for months, those diagonal seams have definitely stretched, and I thought that would happen. So that means that I'm probably going to have a saggy lining, but it is what it is. At this point, I just want it finished. But as hard as that was, it does feel good to be working on this project again. It does feel good. So I've got to sew what I clipped today, and then I've got to do the facings and the buttons and buttonholes. These facings are going to be quite interesting to figure out, but we are off once again. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.